Hey, thanks for joining me. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I've had some significant problems with the Ultimates Volume 3 by Jeff Loeb and Joe Madureira. Not because of Joe Madureira, just because of the ridiculously stupid story that Jeff Loeb wrote. It was nothing, and I mean nothing, like the previous two volumes. And I seem to remember them talking about, let's make it different. Let's try something different. I mean, okay, that's fair, but the comic had a certain kind of vibe and style and expectation and a direction that it was going, and it was extremely popular. It's Mark Millar and Brian Hitch on the writing and art on the volumes 1 and 2 of the Ultimates, which, believe me, we'll get into. They're some of my favorite comics ever. And I don't think there's any reason to take the volume 3 and be like, all right, well, let's do something completely different. I've gone over this, and I think I've done the first 3 issues of Ultimates volume 3. But I was digging around and dug up my copy of this, like, black and white penciled edition. And this has to get shouted out. Just from an artistic perspective. Those of you who watch me know that I draw my own comics. I'm an artist, just an enthusiastic amateur. But this stuff, Joe Mad, there's no artist that, I mean, there's other artists that I like a little bit better. It might depend on the day, but my favorite artist could range. It's usually, as weird as this might sound, Adam Hughes is my favorite artist. I just think he can draw anything and everything. But depending on the day, it could be Mark Silvestri, whatever he's kind of drawing at the time. Could be Jim Lee, could be Mike Mignola. But Joe Mad is always there. But no other artist that I can think of at the moment, when I look at their penciled work, makes me want to draw. I don't know. I want to say that it looks like I can do this. And I don't mean that like it's simple. It's not. It's very advanced stuff. His eye for layout and kind of positioning characters and dynamic poses on all of them. It doesn't look like it's not like it's simple, but it looks so fun and exciting, and just the way he draws it, like what a great picture of the Blob right here. Like he's missing teeth. The way he draws big fat folds on him and this crazy angle on that face. It makes me want to draw, and it also makes me want to get up my tools and start inking. Get out my holder and my inking nib, and I want to start inking over this guy. Get the Hunt 102 out and get a brush out and just start putting some ink lines on this pencil artwork. There's no other artist that makes me want to just start drawing and especially start inking over him as much as Joe Mad when I see this stuff. I'm kind of curious, for any of you guys out there that are inkers, Chuck, talking to you, that look at this, and does this, as a professional inker, does something like this get you excited? Do you look at this and go, oh, it would be so fun to like translate this into black and white artwork? It's a damn shame that they never did this in the actual book. They just took this and went straight to color, and it looks just terrible. Oh, there's a big old tear in this thing. That's interesting. Anyway, what a great cover. It's all awesome. The characters, like the storyline is just stupid. But we're not worrying about the story in this. We're just going to here to look at the artwork. So what a great gatefold cover. I mean, part of me is kind of thinking of taking this off, just ripping this book up and putting this into like a frame. Kind of like one of these things, like I did with this insert from Witchblade Darkness crossover, and just putting this inside one of these. It wouldn't fit. That sucks. Anyway, just because I want to display it. You think they'd do something with the inside cover fold out, like there's a lot of blank space there. But it's the entire issue number 1 of Ultimates Volume 3, issue 1, in just the pencil artwork with the words on it. So I kind of wish they would have just left the words off, because no one wants to read this stupid-ass story. But man, Joe Mad's artwork, his figures, composition, backgrounds. I mean, that's a very naughty image back there. I like this close-up of the lips. If you were to ink this, you'd have to make some very definitive choices on how to interpret those scratchy pencil lines. There's a lot of different ways that you could do that. And I'm kind of curious what a professional inker would do given the opportunity to tackle that. There's so many different options you could do. But another great double page spread. Venom comes bashing in to attack them all. Joe Mad can draw the big muscly guys, just these layers upon layers of big, thick muscle. So awesome. This is a great picture of Thor. I love that angle on his face. I have to draw a character with basically an exactly similar beard and mustache kind of layout on the guy's face, and I'm always looking at that to see how Joe Mad does. It looks so damn good. I like that face of Tony Stark down there, a shot of the Wasp. It's all just so good. Look at the technology on that gun. Both of them. God, it looks great. Venom shows up and starts attacking. So there's big fights. I like this exaggerated version of Venom. I mean, Venom's always been a big muscular guy, but this is taken to an extreme proportion, kind of giant upper muscular body. This shot of Venom's face right here, the teeth, the tongue, the crazy eyes. That's so good. And then, of course, one of the, like, just super awesome. Like, what a great shot. You're going to, like, the script says, splash page. Black Panther shows up, punches Venom in the face in a big heroic shot. Go nuts. Then just all these great muscular shapes in here. I've actually found this, a high resolution scan of this image, printed it out and inked it a long time ago. And I'm sure I did a terrible job, but I just had to try. I mean, that's how you learn, right? You just bust it out and start going and give it your best shot. And even if it turns out terrible by professional standards, you still learn something. But great muscular anatomy, like these thick layers of muscles. They really look like they're thick, chunky shapes that are layered on top of each other. Got a three-dimensional kind of shape to it. So great. Another great page. Big muscular arms and great action shots, shadows and feathering to do. What a fun page. I mean, I know there's been several inkers that worked on top of Joe Mad, but my recollection is, if I remember correctly, Battle Chasers, isn't it Tom McWeeny as an inker that did the Battle Chasers? And I think that stuff looked the best. But there's so many other inkers, you know, Tom McWeeny, Richard Friend, Joe Weems, are all these guys that I love. Chuck Gibson, I would love to see you tackle these things. How awesome would that be? Great backgrounds, another great shot of Venom and these big muscular figures. I like this hand and he shoots like a splotch of his symbiote goo off his hand onto stupid Hawkeye's face here. Another incredible double page spread. I actually think that the art is off, like there's art that continues off panel here. I feel like I've seen more of this. I could be wrong, and I seem to remember going on and on about this, this page specifically when I did the regular issue one, but what a great horse. I mean, horses are hard to draw. I've had to draw them a couple times, specifically winged horses. Great horse, great female figure, the head, the face, the hair, the arms, the giant ridiculous sword, like a sexy body. You know, all the stuff you want to see in a comic book. Like you want to see muscly heroic dudes and monsters and babes and all this cool stuff. How fun would it be to ink these bottom shapes? The claws and the shadows and everything on there, and that big angry Venom toothy face there. This would be so fun to do. My problem is that I know what I want my tools to do, but I still struggle to get the kind of ink line to come out of the tools that I want, the snaps and the feathering. And I know it's just a matter of practice, but what a great shot. Just more of just these Avengers fighting Venom. And it's great. Just start out with the big action scene, even though the whole rest of the story is kind of stupid. I like this shot of him kind of flexing up here and lightning blast down and Thor shows up again. It's awesome. I like that shot of her standing there. Ah, it's so good. Thor and Valkyrie making out. I've said this before, drawing people kissing, that's hard. And Thor's saying, you're right, buddy. I'm making out with her, and it is hard. Get her. Great architecture. We'll just pretend we don't know the ridiculous story about these two and just appreciate the art. Looks great. That's another face where that would be a hard one to translate those pencil. That's very sketchy, almost like smudged pencil lead almost. And to translate that into ink lines, you'd have to make some very definitive choices and be confident in your abilities. Just more great storytelling. Captain America, characters talking back and forth. I like the way he draws noses. It looks simple, but you got to know what you're doing. And then a mouth to make just this kind of a simple line like that work. I like that feminine face, nose, mouth, the hair, the shadows on it. God, I know I just got done saying this, but this makes me want to draw. Every time I look at Joe Mad's stuff, I want to draw. I want to sit down and start putting pencil on paper and start inking. Another one that would be fun but tricky to translate. Again, you got to make some definitive choices and be confident in what you're doing. I like the background shot on this right here. Radio City Music Hall, the perspective on it. And then, you know, it's another hard thing to do. It's one thing if you're an aspiring comic artist, and if you're dumb, like most of us, myself included, all you do is you spend years and years just drawing like muscular characters in like spandex clothes. You don't teach yourself to draw regular human beings in regular clothes in a everyday situation. And that's where the real artists like rise to the top. And Joe Mad's got it all. And he's a seasoned professional at this point. He's been doing artwork for comics forever. So he knows what he's doing. His ability to convey speed, like a bullet is fired at Scarlet Witch here, and so he takes off. His jacket zips off him, and he's chasing, like this is Quicksilver here, and he's tracking the bullet, but the bullet can maneuver, so he's trying to stop it. He reaches up with his hand, tries to catch it, but the bullet dodges. So he goes charging after it. The speed and the motion, everything is so awesome, and he grabs the bullet. That, I've always loved that hand. Drawing hands. Hands, because it's a bunch of different shapes, but then also a balled up fist. But it blew a hole right through his hand. That's another great shot, another tricky one to interpret on the inks. But she got shot. The bullet went through his hand and caught her anyway. Great facial expressions. Great shadows right there. God, it's creepy as she's like bleeding out of her mouth as she dies. And then I think the next page is the last. Another great down angle shot. You get a nice figure shot on there. A hard angle to draw him like top down, bent over, difficult one. And then just regular people in regular clothes. Kids, old men, young guys carrying cameras, young women, cop, guy in a scarf. Like it's all there. And then have all the background in perspective. It's snowing, so he's got to draw on all these little snowflakes falling. God, it's amazing. He's so fantastic. And I keep saying it, I want to draw. I want to get out and start drawing my comic, which I'll probably do. Special pinup. It's the same thing. It's that penciled art, just colored, and it sucks. I mean, again, I've said this. If you like it, great. I appreciate that. I think it looks terrible. I'd rather the entire book look like this than this coloring. I'd rather it be in black and white ink and colored a little bit better. Volume 3, number 4. That's the next one that we're going to be looking at. So this is done in 2008. Another waste of back page space, but just kind of a quick flip through. Joe Madureira, like legitimate great artist. And it's a goddamn shame that he released Battle Chasers 10, is it? And had somebody else draw it. And I believe he had actually said that he was going to be drawing it, but then he hands it over to somebody else. And I haven't seen the book, but I understand, like I've seen some of the artwork of the guy who drew it, and he's obviously really good. But we want this guy. here for this. It's so frustrating. Anyway, just a quick flip through. Ultimates 3, black and white variant. Just the pencil artwork by Joe Mad. It's one of these great books to have. So that's all I've got for now. As always, thank you for joining me, and see you next time.